The Head, a tale of the night floaters, told in 2 parts. I was tired of my never-ending persecution by the night floaters, and so had decided to escape them by going west, young man. Going west in my old 75 AMC Pacer. It was kind of a pissy tan color, but I loved that car. I often felt I was in either a alien spacecraft or a fishbowl when I was cruising around town. I certainly got the looks as I went by. And who knows, some of them might even have been complimentary. Maybe it helped the floaters keep their evil eyes on me. In any event, I had to escape. But it was an old and elderly car and prone to breaking down, usually at the worst possible time. Like now. I had pulled into an observation area outside Banff, where there was a spectacular view of the local peaks. But when I got back to the Pacer, the engine was dead, dead, dead. I looked under the hood and under the car, but I couldn't figure out what the problem was. Now, I had lots of gas, I think. After farting around about 15 minutes, I finally had to admit defeat. There was nothing for it but to go into town and get a tow to a garage or a gas bar. Trouble was, I was at least 10K out of town. That's 10 kilometers for you non-Canadians. And that's a mighty long walk on a hot day. Plus, there were bears in the area. Grizzlies. There were a few other cars in the observation area, so I thought maybe I could bum a ride. I had noticed one had Ontario plates, like me, so I thought I'd try it first. It was an older car too, an early 90s Ford Probe, with a little rust along the edges. I was somewhat bemused to find the dealer plate listed a used car lot in Jokeville, the town I had fled in terror as soon as I had turned 18. "Can I help you?" said a somewhat belligerent voice. The man was extremely thin, with dark stubble covering his white face. Despite the heat, he wore a turtleneck, jacket, and corduroy pants, all jet black, as was his mop of thick, greasy hair. The woman was next to him. She was chunky, but also dressed in black. Even her lipstick was black, and her shorter hair was equally unkempt, like she was trying for the goth look and not quite making it. Plus, she looked like she had a 5 o'clock shadow. I was so taken aback I stammered out, my car broke down. You guys wouldn't be heading into Banff, would you? If so, could you give me a ride?" The pair looked at one another, and something passed between them. After a long moment, the woman gave me a creepy smile and said, "Sure." The guy said, "Why were you staring at the car?" His tone was still rather brusque. Well, I noticed you guys come from the same town as me." "Oh, really? Jokeville? Whereabouts?" He said it suspicious-like. What? He didn't believe me? Who would brag about coming from Jokeville? Kerr Street, I finally admitted. "Ah, Kerr Street boy," the woman said, flashing me a yellow smile this time. They asked me my name, and when I told them, they exchanged looks again, as if they had recognized it. I asked for their names, but neither meant anything to me. They told me they had attended high school in the ritzy end of town, while I went to the tech or greaser school, so it was unlikely we had any friends in common. I was getting an odd vibe from the pair. Not quite hostility, but a kind of amused derision. Like they knew something I didn't. Something unpleasant. A secret. I even found it hard to make eye contact with them. I was sorry I had approached them, but beggars can't be choosers, and I needed a ride to town. I struggled into the cramped back seat, which seemed to be covered by dirty clothes and old food wrappers. I was glad the front windows were open, as I suspect the interior didn't smell any too good. As the probe swung back onto the road, a gust of air swept through the car. There was a furtive movement up front, and the woman cried out, "Oh, we've lost our head!" "Where did it go?" the guy said in a startled voice. It flew out the window." "Shit," the guy muttered. I guess it's gone now. Well, we can come back and look for it. After we get rid of this guy." Huh. Get rid of me, eh? I said to myself, and then it hit me. They were night floaters. Everything fit. They came from Jokeville and seemed to know who I was. They were thin and dirty looking, with thick, coal-black, greasy hair. They wore black clothing, even though it was as hot as hell outside. They had somehow lost a head, and they were talking about getting rid of me. I had to get the hell out of there. But how? As the old probe was rolling down the mountain expressway at high speed. Maybe if they stopped for a light or something. If they stopped. A pregnant and uncomfortable silence descended on the interior of the car until the woman said, "A gust of wind must have caught it. When we opened the doors, it's windy up there." "That pisses me off," the guy complained. "We had it for a long time. It was our fetish." Fetish? The ride seemed to last forever, but it was probably less than 10 minutes. 10 long minutes in a hot, stinky car. I gave a sigh of relief when we turned into Banff. At the first light I said, "You can let me out here." "But there's no gas station," the guy said. "Oh, there's one over there," I replied, making a vague hand gesture down the side street. "We can drive you there." No, it's okay. I put you guys to enough trouble already." "Oh, it's no trouble. Besides, maybe I insist." "Keith, if he wants out, let him out," the woman said in a tone of exasperation. Yeah, the guy's name was Keith. Figures. Guys named Keith were always making trouble for me. Abruptly, he pulled over to the sidewalk, and I was out of the car before the wheels finished turning, muttering a muted thanks on my way through the door. I hit the pavement running and went down the nearest side street, not really looking for a gas station, but just trying to put as much distance between me and them as possible. Later, I found a Shell station. But damn it, the probe was parked outside, like they were lying in wait for me. I hid in a nearby phone booth where I could watch the gas bar, and stood there a good quarter of an hour before the goth chick finally came out with a deck of smokes, got into the car, and they drove away. All the way back to my car in the tow truck, I was worried they might have gone back and were awaiting my return, but there were no other cars there, just my old Pacer. The tow truck guy kept offering to buy it, and I kept turning him down, and within 24 hours, I was on the road again, peeling rubber to put as much distance between me, Banff, and the two, I was sure of it, night floaters. What were they planning to do to me? Get rid of me? How? By dumping my headless body in the all-surrounding woods? Grub for the bears and the other animals? Was my head supposed to be the new fetish on the dashboard? I don't want to know. I just want the floaters to leave me alone. Alone. So strange, Jokeville people, let's not meet. But this story is continued.